The World Cup final.
I haven't watched this game back yet.
You've never watched it back?
No, I haven't watched it back. No, I haven't. Because there's no point me doing a self-review on the World Cup final, you know. So I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it back yet.
Oh my gosh! If I was like refereeing the World Cup final, I'd be watching it every night.
And
checking myself out.
I enjoyed every minute of it. Massive pressure on you. When people ask, you know, what is your favourite game? And as we just talked about 2013 there, my first Six Nations Cup, England, Italy, and many games for various different reasons. But the World Cup final is the pinnacle. And it's not just because you get a point there, because, you know, the selectors believe that you are the best referee in the world. Obviously, if your country's in it, then that will play a part as well. But what it meant for my dad, my family. This turned out to be, you know, the best final of all the World Cups that's been. You know, New Zealand were just brilliant that day. Then Australia came back second half. But it could have all gone so wrong because, and this is a true story, I go to blow the whistle, think, oh, that's forward. Wayne Barnes was my touch judge, and Wayne Barnes was right in line with it. And Barnes, he goes, oh, play on, because he could see now I was going to blow. So we play on. And comes a ruck, and then Barnsley is one of my best mates again in refereeing and off the field. And Barnsley comes in 9 goal offside, 9 goals. So I penalise Wilgenia. Go back now, give the penalty. Carter now goes for the posts. As I'm standing there now, going to, you know, waiting for the penalty to be taken, they replay the pass, and the pass is forward. And I thought, oh God. If Carter kicks this now, there's 3 points here that they shouldn't have had.
And in a World Cup final.
World Cup final.
I'm feeling sick for you.
Can you imagine now if New Zealand won that final by 2 points or 1 point? Then, you know, there's nothing you can do, but you can't change your mind now. And you can't let that affect the rest of your refereeing. You know, the village of Moneykerrig, it was like a carnival week there all week. There was bunting out there. The club was packed all week. There were people driving from Aberystwyth, from Pontypridd, from Merthyr. Somebody driven down from Chepstow because they'd seen on the news Moneykerrig, and they came down to see Moneykerrig when I was from. There were hundreds been there all week coming then into the club, you know, to see where I was from. It was unbelievable, and that's what made it so special.
It's not a marginal adjustment. You've risen quite high above the horizontal and it's gone down to the shoulder. And that is a yellow card offence, OK?
The Moneykerrig Club officially should hold about, between the 3 rooms, should hold, say, maybe about 150, 160 people. They should be packed. There was over 500 people there. You couldn't move. It was a lovely day with people outside. It was... And that's one thing I've always said, I wish I could have been there to see it all. But obviously, if I'd have been there, then it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened, you know. And everybody wearing my face masks, and I think, you know, nobody in Moneykerrig was supporting New Zealand or Australia. They were all supporting the referee. Thankfully, the game looked after itself. New Zealand won deservedly. There were no complaints by anybody. You know, even the most one-eyed of Australian supporters didn't or couldn't complain. No. So at the end of the game now, we're in the changing rooms. The final's gone well. Joel Deuce, the referee's manager, he's over the moon. I get up to get my medal from Prince Harry. And Prince Harry goes, well done, Nige, well refed. And I come off the...
Does Prince Harry call you Nige? I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I saw him in the World Cup in 2019 after I did the semi-final, New Zealand-Australia. He was out watching the final and I was injured, so I was doing the number 4 job in the final. And he was coming out of the corridor and he goes, oh, now you see, I said you should be refereeing this final, so I had a chat with him in the... I didn't call him Hardmind, I said... And so anyway, we go into the change rooms after the game. Derek Bevan was my refereeing coach for most of my career. He'd come up to watch the final. He comes in, we have a few cans celebrating now. The final's gone well. I come off the podium after having this medal from Prince Harry as a gold whistle. And honest to God, Sarah, and Joel Drew said to me, I've never heard this before, and I don't think I'll ever hear it again. As I'm coming off, the crowd were chanting my name coming off the podium.
Really?
It was, yeah. And he said to me, could you hear? And I stopped and listened, and they were. And then obviously then when, you know, the next team came up, that changed. And in the change room after the game, and Barnsley goes to me, oh, Nigel said, sorry about that forward pass. And I said to him, Bazzy, don't worry. I said, you didn't know what a forward pass was in 2007 and you still don't know in 2015. And we both had a laugh and had a few beers and enjoyed. But, you know, if that had finished within 2 points, then it would have been a very, very different final and a very, very different view of Nigel Owens as a referee.
I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, that those 80,000 people there watching that game chanting your name at the end, and not one of those knew what you were going through personally during that period and before that period and after that period, because you were and you had been suffering from bulimia for a long time. And was it at its worst during this period?
Yeah, I still suffer from it now, but not to the extent I did back then. It was at my worst when I was suffering with mental health issues around dealing with my sexuality in my sort of really late teens and sort of most of my 20s. And then still then after that. But then I sort of, you know, I managed to sort of fight it then for a few years. But then as the pressures of fitness testing came in, you had to reach a fitness level. You know, the fitness test was on the old bleep test, the yo-yo test of 2015, which is 18.1, which is a high level. Some of the players don't get to 18.1. So I was expected as a 44-year-old to get to, you know, the oldest of the referees to get to 18.1. And a lot of pressure on you. And, you know, if you didn't get to 18.1, you may not be selected for the World Cup. So anyway, I slipped back into the old habit then of being bulimic then in sort of, you know, eating, the pressures, you know, of refereeing at that level, the pressures of going in as the #1 referee, the pressures of keeping a fitness and performance, and the bulimia came back. And yeah, it was tough during that time in dealing with that as well, and, you know, trying to hide it and still trying to keep on top of your fitness and everything. And but, you know, thankfully now it hasn't risen its head for about 6-7 months now.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because I probably finished refereeing at test match level. The pressure and the fitness expected of you, I think, at that level, I think contributes, because, you know, and sometimes you feel the pressure and you sort of, you know, you do some comfort eating when you're feeling a bit down or stuff like that, and then you put some weight on, and I do love my food. And then you feel, oh God, you know, I'm putting a bit of weight on, I need to keep my fitness up, and then, you know, coming out of lockdown then, the Pro 14 referee manager, for whatever reason, I don't know, said, look, you're going to have to do a fitness test now. And coming out of lockdown, and then they expect you to do a fitness test when nobody's been to the gym, you know. So that triggered back into the bulimia again, but now, you know, it's not an issue at the moment. I blew the final whistle. The first person came up to me and shook my hands was Pocock. And Pocock came up and he said, Nigel, he said, thanks for reffing a great game. He said, it's always been a pleasure. And I thought to myself, this guy has just lost the World Cup final. And the first thing he's done is come up to me and thank me for refereeing the game. And then the next person that comes up, before he even celebrates with his own team, is Jerome Kano. And Jerome Kano comes up and he says, thanks, Nigel, he said. And I watched your documentary last night. I don't think you'll ever know how much good that will have done and how much you help people, not just in rugby, but outside of rugby as well. And I thought, this guy has found time to come and tell me that. And I thought, wow, this is why, in my humble opinion, rugby union is not only the greatest of team sports in the world on the field, but without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest of team sports in the world off the field as well.